Good morning, Year 10 parents, and thank you for all of your support this week as we prepare to bring Year 10 back to school next week. It does feel like a very important step as we begin to return to some form of normal and begin to see what the future might look like. Thank you to all parents who completed the questionnaire in such a timely fashion. This has enabled us to refine our plans carefully and to ensure that we are thinking about the very particular needs of each child and each parent. But the most important thing is that you have confidence and assurance in the structure of our next steps so that you know that your child will be safe, so that you know what the curriculum will look like for your child and how their learning will be protected and promoted. But I'm very conscious that this is all a bit complicated and that there is a great deal of detail. But it comes down to some very key points. We have had some certain restrictions placed on us to ensure that we meet government guidelines, and we've worked incredibly hard to ensure that we are meeting, or in some places surpassing, those very clear expectations. But to make this work, it relies on each parent and each child and each member of staff following a very clear set of guidelines. We have a huge risk assessment at school that will be available for parents to review, all 51 pages of it, but that risk assessment will have very little impact if we don't on an individual level all take responsibility. And I'm conscious that some of this may feel quite overwhelming for your young person. School is a special place. They might not say that they love it every day, but I think that they do. I think that they enjoy it, their time with their friends, their learning, their time with their teachers. And we're very conscious that some of the very essence of our school is being chipped away a bit to make this return possible. School feels a bit more institutional than it would usually feel, and we're very minded of that, which is why later today there will be a video tour of the upper school that we've put together to enable your child and you to visualise what the return will look like. But chiefly it comes down to some key areas. Children have been organised into groups of 40, which enables us to meet the government quota of a quarter of the cohort returning at any one time. Those groups of 40 will attend school on at least one day per week, and over the course of the 4 weeks from the 22nd of June, they will attend school on a Friday as well, so they'll have 2 days in one of their weeks. Later this morning, you will receive a personalised timetable. This timetable will identify which days your child should be in school, and it will identify their social bubble. So within that group of 40, children have then been split into 4 groups of 10. Each social bubble of 10 children has been given a colour. That colour is to support them and us in organising things effectively. What is pivotal is that the children must remain in those groups of 10 at all times, and there can be no mixing between the social bubbles. We know that this is going to be hard for our young people because their closest friends might be in a different social bubble. We can't mitigate that right now. The most important thing is that they are in school, they are with peers, and that they have the opportunity for face-to-face time with their teachers. And we must keep coming back to that being the most important thing. To support the safety and well-being of our students and our staff, the children will be taught in a fixed classroom for their lessons when they are in school. We're calling this classroom a base room. The children will go to that room and their teachers will come to them. On a fixed day of a Monday to Thursday, those lessons will include English, maths and science. And on a Friday, there will be a rotation of history, geography and foreign languages. The children's social bubbles remain the same for break times and lunch times. The children will have their snacks and their lunch in their base room, but then will have time to go outside and get some fresh air. But that space has to be in what's called a zoned area, and they will be allocated a particular space where they can go and have their fresh air in their time outside. But again, it's all very rigid. It takes away some of that flexibility and freedom they're used to having at school. And we're conscious of that. And that's why the video that we're putting together will, I hope, help. And we know that we're going to have to keep revisiting those messages so that we don't take away all of the joy and the fun of school time. But to also make this work, it's imperative that young people arrive at school at set times. Each bubble has been given a 10-minute staggered arrival time, and those staggered arrival times are listed on the letter that you've received for your child. To make it work for us safely, please do ensure that your child arrives at their allocated time so that we don't end up with too much clumping and we can secure social distancing. There is also a staggered dismissal time, and that is also listed on your letter. The children will be brought out of school by a member of staff, and it's important that they don't then congregate with one another. There is little point us having had very specific social distancing and hygiene in place throughout the school day if the children then go and mingle freely in Cherry Tree Woods, for example. So please do reiterate those messages at home. Hygiene will be crucial here. There will be sanitising stations on arrival at school. There will be a cleaning routine in place in every classroom. Children need to ensure that they wear clean clothes every day. We have said that the blazers shouldn't be worn during this time because I think regular washing of that might be a step too far for most parents. We have said, outside of anything to do with hygiene, that school shoes should be worn as much as possible in line with our uniform expectations. But if your child has outgrown their school shoes, the last thing I want is for you to have to go off and buy a new pair now when September's not that far away. So trainers are acceptable during this period of time. Children must bring all of their own stationery because we can't share equipment at school. Children do need to bring their exercise books with them so that their work can be completed in those books. But please note that teachers will not be taking in exercise books during this period of time to reduce infection control. But any work that is to be submitted for marking and assessment, we will ask students to do that online. In terms of the curriculum, this is a particular step and it takes a bit of getting one's head round to ensure that we're maximising every learning opportunity. But we have moved to what is called a blended learning model. And what you will find in the email version of this presentation is a teacher's toolkit. Now that has been written in student-friendly language because we find that the easiest way to do it, but it explains how each element of teaching and learning links together to provide a curriculum package over a 4-week period from the 22nd of June. I would urge you to read that carefully because it outlines what will happen in terms of remote learning and virtual lessons and face-to-face contact and how those things link together. Now, in terms of next steps, it's essential that we do that in a step-by-step fashion to ensure children feel confident and they don't feel too overwhelmed with what happens next, but also so that you feel confident as well. The Learning Review Day appointments on Monday will be pivotal, and at those appointments you will have the opportunity to review and discuss the new COVID-19 homeschool agreement with your child's form tutor. We've sent that homeschool agreement out to you today, and we would ask you to review and read that with your child, to add your signatures and to submit it back to school. But it's essential that we do have that in place because it's part of our risk assessments, a sense that we know that everybody knows what's expected of them. And staff have also completed a new staff code of conduct to identify their different responsibilities at this time. As I said, I'm conscious that there is a great deal of information to take on board, but I hope that you can see that steps have been taken very carefully at school. We are using this as an opportunity to road test what September and beyond might look like because we are aware that some of these restrictions are most likely to be in place. But what I am keen to do is to move to an opportunity where I can secure some next steps for September as soon as is possible. I'm aware that for many parents there is concern about GCSE exam expectations in the summer of 2021. We are aware that there have been meetings between Ofqual and the exam boards over the course of this week, but no formal information has been shared with schools. As soon as it is, please know that I shall then share that with you so that we all know what we are working towards. Thank you for all of your support. I am so grateful for it. Most importantly, I'm looking forward simply to seeing you and to seeing your child on Monday. With my very best wishes. Bye-bye.